Hey, what's good, guys? So I'm here for a review on the movie Black and Blue. After carefully looking at it, after watching it, being of African American descent, the movie was pretty tough. One, I'm gonna just talk about how good it was. I think it was very good because I couldn't tell the direction of the movie, which way was it leading, how was it gonna play out and whatnot. It starts off as pretty much of a poverty place. In the ghetto, a lot of black people. I believe it was in New Orleans. They explained after the levees broke and, most people left, most people stayed, how the corruption was pretty high. There were certain places that the cops did not go. And the woman, Alicia, she was a rookie cop, Alicia West. She toured in Afghanistan for about 10 years. She left a couple of her friends home, that had to fend for themselves. So when she came back, she was viewed as a traitor. This movie is pretty tough because I believe on her first day, she's working with, her first week, she's working with one of her workers. Her partner chooses to not work overtime, so she takes his overtime. She works with a different cop. The cop that she chooses to work with is kind of a corrupt cop. He's dealing with the narcs. The narcs are taking money off the top off the drugs that they take, and she discovers it. She's just looking, and then they shoot her. She falls about 3 stories down. She has a bullet injury, so now she's going through the whole movie trying to get everything seen so her body cam. Now, in the midst of this movie, when you're watching it, you see the over-aggression of police officers. I'm assuming they're trying to make it relevant to now of today's day and age, which they did a really good job at being with the video that's going around now. Police are throwing little subs like stay away from me, or I'll make you regret it. They'll check the ID and be like, well, I'm surprised you don't have a warrant. I'll be back next time. Putting a little bit more incentives than to protect and serve. It's more so promoting fear, violence, making a person scared. The bad thing about making a person scared is that when you make a person scared, they're unpredictable. You don't know how things can play out. As the movie progressed, it became a chain of events. You probably thought it was one cop, when in actuality it was like 3 cops. Then it went from like 3 cops to like 7 cops. So now you're dealing with not being able to run to a police officer as a police officer, and I think the significance behind that was just saying that, some cops are good cops, rarely, but it's more like more cops are corrupt cops. And my take on that, I know a lot of police officers, so I don't think all cops are corrupt cops. I think there are a lot of good cops out there, but there are some cops that make it pretty bad for the good cops out there. It makes it really difficult. With the video that was just uploaded a couple of days ago where the police officer was assaulting minors in a New York City subway station was just excessive. As they were talking, he ran from one side, punched one person in the face, ran from another side and punched another person in the face. It was just over the top and shouldn't have gone that route. This movie kind of highlights things of that nature, the indecency and the messed up parts of, dealing with police officers nowadays. You don't know what you're going to expect. And I would understand if people were able to tell their stories, but there are so many unarmed murders, so many, just false reviews, fake police reports, all of these things that are coming about. It's like, why are the cops so aggressive? As if this is the most hostile environment they can be in. We do understand that this is the United States of America. Afghanistan is much more hostile, and the last resort is to shoot. The last resort is to kill. Why is that the first resort here with a person that is unarmed, a person that has not put themselves in a position to be a threat to that of a cop? You have that type of training, but you're worried about a person that doesn't have that type of training because you're in fear for your life in your hometown. So in this movie, the movie just keeps going, and it's juicy. Like, she thinks she finds a way out. She runs to these cops, and the cops are like, oh, we got you. Not knowing that she has a radio, they radio into the bad cops, and it's like more bad cops. And then the thugs get aboard because one of the thugs' nephew was killed, and it was just like, okay, So now she has to figure out how to tell the story without dying because she can't trust the people that she's supposed to trust, but then she has to trust the people that she's not supposed to trust. So the thing about it is this also one of the biggest things that I've heard from police officers. About 2 years ago, 2017, 2016, I'll say, I had an argument with the university, my alma mater, Salem International University, where I had an argument of Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. In this argument, it was a pretty interesting argument. And in the argument, when I was arguing with the police officer, he was saying that in the force they double tap to the chest, in response of them feeling threatened. Now the thing about it is that in response to you feeling threatened, I can understand, double tap to the chest. A person has a gun, you have a gun, you can kill a person. But if you don't know if a person has a gun, cell phone, if they're just not responding how you would want them to, it shouldn't resort to the part of being aggressive. In this movie, though, it wasn't Black Lives Matter, it wasn't All Lives Matter, it wasn't White Lives Matter, it was Blue Lives Matter. So in an argument that they were trying to make to her about giving over the body cam was that you're blue. You're not black, you're not white. We supposed to stick together. Although everything might not be understood and everything might not be how you would like it, we're blue. So stick to being blue. Don't switch up on us. And the thing about it is that that's scary to think that that's the narrative, that's the mindset of our police officers nowadays. Now, although that might be valid, although if with basketball, I would protect my teammates, you are human as well. You are there to protect and serve. You are there to protect us. We should not fear you as when we deal with you. Nowadays, you see a lot of videos uploaded to social media where police officers respond to a house that they're being called at, and the police officers are hostile towards the person that called because they don't know what's going on. It's like, I called you for a situation here. Why do you feel the need to be aggressive, to have your gun out, to ask for my identification, to call me incompliant, to say I'm resisting arrest when I called you for help? The scary part about this is that watching a movie like this makes you realize is that police officers make it hard to trust them. And one of the worst things that could happen about nowadays is if it becomes Blue Lives Matter versus everybody else. Now, rumor has it that the police officers and stuff like that is the biggest gang in the world. The biggest gang because, they help each other out. They cover each other's tracks. Things are able to go without being seen. Cops are able to commit, devious crimes and not have any penalization for them. In my mindset, I do agree that some of those things are true. I do agree that some of those things are not true. I have seen police officers get arrested, not as many as I would like, due to the fact of unarmed deaths and, collateral damage. But what I can say is that the way that the world is progressing, it needs to get better, especially for people of my skin tone. It's bad that I would have to worry about having that conversation with my children, about how to deal with the police officer, how to interact with a police officer. When a police officer says this, don't do this. But I know of people of other ethnicities will not have that conversation with their children, will not understand that. And a lot of people won't attest to that and won't agree to that because they'll feel like I'm playing the racial card. But if you want to just be honest, that's white privilege, that you don't have to talk to your children about how to interact with a police officer, not knowing if your child will come home at night on my part. It's scary to know that it's a possibility that I could die off of an interaction with a police officer, not knowing how my verbiage is, not knowing how my demeanor is, not knowing what color I'm wearing, not knowing how I look to this person. In this movie, so much is being projected as police are not liked, police are not trusted. It's hard to move with them. It's hard to be understanding with them. And this is something I can agree to. I choose and I say that I don't want to interact with a police officer under the circumstances where I'm compliant and I get hit, or I get offended, or I get assaulted in that regards, because all it is a tap on the shoulder and a pat on the back, like, you're good, you'll be fine. When it comes to this, we all are humans and all lives should matter. I do agree that, black lives are dying at a much higher rate than I feel any other rate. Any other race, it is pretty much tough to keep dealing with and keep seeing it. I feel like Tyrese did a great job in this movie. He gave us so much emotion to being at the gunpoint of a police officer, not knowing what to do, you know, having a history of records, and you know, having that held over your head, and also trying to live, you know, live a positive life. You know, it's pretty tough trying to keep at this path and trying to stick with it and whatnot. As it keeps going, you just keep watching the movie, and I don't know if you're sad at the person in the movie, or you're sad because when you walk out of the movie theater, this is actually real life. This is actually something that you possibly could have to worry about. You know, some people don't have to worry about it, but this is something that you possibly could have to worry about. And it sucks that, you know, it's gut-wrenching to know this. As you guys know, I did a review on the Netflix docuseries, All of Us. When They See Us. And When They See Us was pretty tough because that's down the block. That's Central Park. You know, that's pretty tough for me to take on, to knowing that I was so close to something like that, and knowing that I knew some of the characters that played it. It just makes you wonder, like, you know, how long is this police inconsistency going to keep up? You know, why don't police officers publicly come on and just apologize? Like, you guys cannot agree with this whole video, but why don't we ever see police apologize publicly unless they're on trial? You know, why is it that so many deaths happen? Why do you feel so threatened? Why do you feel the need to pull out a gun and want to shoot someone because you're not understanding of the situation? Why are you a police officer if you feel the resort is to grab your gun and shoot at somebody? These are things that we have to ask ourselves. We have to demilitarize our police force. I feel like these situations are so uncommon, and where black people and police are resolved. Nowadays, when you hear, you know, a black man or someone of color is shot, it's almost like, oh, again. You know, a neighbor called the police, you know, on her neighbor next door because their door was open. The aunt was going to visit her nephew. The door was open. The police officer walked inside of the house and shot the aunt because the door was open. What threat was she? Why would you pull up knowing that you could possibly want to kill someone? How do you wake up in the morning thinking, like, you know what, I might have to use my gun today, and you're going to someone else's home? These are things that doesn't make sense. These are things that don't make sense. So looking at a movie like this, I appreciate the movie like this because it puts it out on Front Street. It's like, stop BSing. Stop giving us these runarounds. Stop telling us, like, you know, well, Black Lives Matter, you know, you should care about Black Lives. Well, let us worry about that. But don't you choose to kill us. Don't you choose to shoot at us. Don't you choose to slam us against doors and floors and stuff like that and punch us in our face and think that things are going to be okay. The worst thing that can happen is that you keep treating us like this, and then what happens in return is that we react. That's what we don't understand, is that this happens so common, this happens so consistent. All it would take is one person to react. One person to move that way towards the cop. And I'm not promoting this, but it's just like, let's be better as humans. Don't let the leader of the free world, you know, make it be okay that this is alright. Remember, it was one time where there was KKK and all of these people, white supremacists, protesting down south, and he called them decent people. But if a black person screams out at his press conferences, get that animal out of here, get them thugs out of here. You can't pick and choose when you want to call somebody a thug, and pick and choose when somebody's a good person. If you think somebody of a white supremacist or the KKK is a good person, but a person that's speaking out against you is a thug and an animal, you should not be the leader of our free world. You should not. If we call it the free world, well, what's really free? It's scary that when you got to walk past a cop car, you got to keep your hands out your pocket because you don't know what's going to happen. That right there, if you don't have to worry about that, if you don't got to talk to your kids about things like that, if you ain't got to have those conversations and stuff like that, then you have white privilege. Or you live in a good neighborhood. I appreciate you guys for sticking tuned to this. I appreciate you guys for you know, checking in and whatnot. This is a great video, a great movie. The cops, the narcs, they all played an amazing job. It's a great movie. It's a must-see. It's probably one of the best movies that I've seen in a long time. It hits you in your gut, you know, allies and enemies. But I would suggest anybody to go see this, you know, and maybe you'll get a better understanding of what I'm saying. All right? I appreciate you guys for sticking tuned. I might have more movie reviews coming for you. But beyond that, have a blessed one.